This is Roger Graves. He is the DOM for the central part of Iowa, and we're going to talk to him today about some of the mission opportunities and ministry things that are possible for us to do here. Could you give us some of your personal background first?
Well, I grew up as a kid in Texas and went to seminary at Southwestern and sojourned for 20 years in Colorado, and about 12 and a half years ago I came out here for the very first time and had my first experience of Iowa. This is a very agricultural place, lots of corn in fields, and it was very different than where I was in Colorado for a lot of reasons. But there was a unique sense of call here that has been affirmed over and over and over again. And I have found myself being very comfortable in the environment with the small town and thing that goes on, and with the challenges that are associated with the small town environment. I work with two associations in the state, one that goes from way up there where Minnesota is on the north side, and then all the way down to the Missouri line, and there's 32 counties involved in all of that. So part of the transition for me has come at the point of learning to think differently and work differently, because I'm in the car a lot and I'm moving, trying to get here and there, and just learning to do ministry in a different kind of way. So that's part of the thing that has been the transition for me.
What are some of the needs in the area that folks can assist in ministry and mission work?
Well, I think in many of our settings we have many communities, many counties that don't have any Southern Baptist work, and we are trying to establish new work in those places, new churches in those places. And the challenge associated with that is that most of our churches are small, and so to ask a church that's 25 to go down 30 miles down the road and start something new that would become church is a bit daunting for them, because they can't quite comprehend how they can do it. Many of them are thinking, this week do we pay the light bill, do we pay the preacher? And so to think about starting something new is a little off the charts for them. And so we've been trying to help them understand how they can be involved and how they can at least contribute to a process of starting something new. And this is where Missouri, I think, can come into be a real player for us in this process, because you guys being here, you guys being available to assist with projects, to give us an opportunity to get into these communities and build some relationships, get to know the needs, respond to the needs as we see them, and I always call it just like stir the pot a little bit and begin to understand what goes on in these communities so that we can connect. And then if we connect, then we can have the local churches send volunteers over, and we hope start Bible studies that can then begin to move toward a new church. And so one of the key things you can do is to help us at the point of church starts and positioning us to get into these communities in unentered counties, and then connecting with those communities in such a way as that we know some names, we know some people that are interested in Bible study. We call them persons of peace, and allowing us an opportunity to begin to build around that. Another thing is just coming alongside some of these small struggling churches and helping them to get over a hump and have some people that can model a good missionary kind of behavior, not only for the next community but also for their own.
What do you see as some of the long-term goals and things that you're looking at accomplishing down the road?
Well, long-term goals, I guess what I would say is we hope that we can, in the future, see at least a strong church, one strong church in each of these counties, and believing that if we can get at least a strong church in each of these counties, then we can send people from those into all the little bitty towns that surround maybe the county seat town, and that way we have an opportunity, a greater opportunity of getting into the small places that dot the landscape.
That's good. That's the way it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where do you see God working at right now in these areas that you're DOM over?
Well, I've seen some interesting things develop as in the last few days, as a matter of fact. One with a guy that came up from Tennessee just in the last few days, and we didn't know he was coming. He's a guy we've been in partnership development with, and he's coming up here to do the same kind of thing I've just described. And lo and behold, he just made a random trip up here, and as it turns out, he arrived in a place called Fort Dodge, and I happened to be in that town that day, 75 miles from where I live, and was meeting with the pastor of a church there with view to starting something new in that town. It turns out there's a guy who owns a piece of property there. Actually, he manages a piece of property for a church that is not really a church. It just has a building there, and they've been wanting to start a church in this building for 10 or 12 years. The short story of this is that guy is never in town. He's always out of town for a week at a time. And it turns out that the guy came from Tennessee. I'm there. The local pastor is there. And this other guy that's never in town was there simultaneously. And we all arrived at this piece of property that it looks like now is likely to be just handed over to us for a location to begin a new church there in that town, which is right across the street from a campus, and we're hoping to reach young adults out of that. So there are some good things that are stirring around and about us, and one of the cool things I think is the way in which we're seeing, it's a bigger picture, but we're seeing some stability develop in the churches in the southern part of the state. Not as much turnover with pastors, so the churches are stabilizing a little bit, and that's positioning them to have an eye to their community and or the next community, and that's opening doors for us to talk a little more confidently and aggressively about the matter of starting something new.
Well, that's good. Is there anything else that of importance and something on your heart that you want to, maybe?
Well, yeah, I would say this, I'm not saying this just to say this, but this really is important, that Missouri has come into our picture, and that Missouri has Iowa on its radar right now is huge. In our experience, all of the guys in my role in Iowa, and there's 4 guys like myself in the state with 7 associations, and all of us are just very, very excited about the fact that we've got Missouri preparing to engage themselves with us. I know that there's been a partnership in the past, and that precedes me, and so Missouri may look like it kind of like a go-back deal, but for us, for me right now, this is huge, because it is allowing us to think about getting into some places that we probably would not be able to think about getting into. It's opening some doors for us. It's encouraging our churches and positioning us to be a bit more bold.
Yeah, that's good. We certainly appreciate your time and everything you've done for us while we've been here. And you've shown us a whole lot. We've covered a lot of territory, and there's a great need here.
Thanks, Missouri Baptist.